Hello, everyone. Thanks for watching another episode of our integration podcast. Today I'm joined by Ultan who developed this integration POC between Forcepoint and Next Generation Firewall and AWS GuardDuty. This integration POC enables automated export of security findings developed by Amazon GuardDuty and makes them available into the blacklist of every Next Generation Firewall engine controlled by an SMC. Ultan, over to you.
So AWS GuardDuty detects any threats to your AWS resources. Here we have a sample event, which is an RDP brute force attack. This has the resource affected, and specifically what we need is the actor, which has a remote IP address, which we want to block as a source and destination into the next-gen firewall engines. I'm going to demo retrieving these findings by generating some sample findings. If I click Generate Sample Findings now, you'll see here we have 56 sample findings. These are then detected by our CloudWatch rule, which checks for relevant findings within GuardDuty and then forwards them to another resource in AWS, that being our Lambda function. This Lambda function then processes the information it's received and forwards it to our endpoint. Then within our SMC engine, you can see we have two next-gen firewall engines. I've configured the connector so that it only ingests the IP addresses into one of the blacklists. Both engines have their own separate blacklist for the situation, and you can configure rules based on these blacklists. Any IPs which are ingested are immediately available to said rules without any extra configuration. So the events that we just generated should now have had an IP address associated with them, which should now exist within the EMEA blacklist and not the US blacklist.
So first question is, normally the SMC manages an entire fleet of next generation firewall engines, but customers might not want the blacklist updated or the findings sent to the blacklist of every single next generation engine. Is it possible to decide which of the many engines controlled by an SMC will receive the security findings?
Yeah, it's fairly simple. You have the connector config and the SMC config. So for the connector, you shouldn't need to adjust any of these settings. This just dictates where the connector runs on your local machine. For the SMC, you provide the endpoint and an API key, and it should be able to connect to that. You can also define a blacklist duration, so the period for which those IP addresses, when ingested into the engines, are considered blacklisted. By default, I've set 3600 seconds just for testing purposes, but you can set that to any number of seconds. And then beneath that, you have the engines which are excluded. You just define those by the name of the engine within the SMC.
So I saw one parameter, blacklist duration. So is that to control how long the IPs from the security findings will last?
Yes.
Okay, so the customer can actually decide for how long he wants the security findings kept into the blacklist.
Yes, that's correct.
And one question about the implementation is, why did we use a number of AWS components and a component in-house? Can we not just go serverless and let AWS handle everything?
That is an option, but the issue we found was that it wasn't super cost effective. So with Lambda, forwarding it to your on-premise system, you are spending 20 cents for every million requests under a certain load. So for us, we thought that was super cost effective if you had hundreds of thousands of threats coming in.
So a quick recap of this POC now. So this integration POC provides an automated way to export security findings generated by Amazon GuardDuty, and the information of the IP addresses contained into those findings is exported through CloudWatch and Lambda into a small component on-premise that ingests those findings into a number of next-generation firewall engines controlled by the SMC. This solution is not just cost-effective, but provides customers with the ability to decide which next-generation firewall engines will receive the findings, and also scales with the increase of security findings developed by GuardDuty. So thanks again, Ultan, for another great POC. Thank you for watching another episode of our podcast, and stay tuned for more episodes.